It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show. And now the host, Calvin Logan.
Hey everybody, welcome to a special episode of the Logan Power Show. My name is your host, Calvin Logan. I thank you all for watching us here and the Logan Power Show. Before we start our episode, we want to first give our condolences to the families up in Buffalo, New York. I know that massacre, 10 lives have been lost. I know definitely something that we want to give our prayers, and we're praying that God changes things. We also want to acknowledge what's going on in Uvalde, Texas. 21 lives have gone off, 19 children, 2 teachers. Understand this, education is our future. Our teachers are our strong force. They are our foundation. So, and young people losing their lives at such a young age is very senseless. So we want to give our condolences. We want to let people know that change is here. So I got with me today, we're going to focus on the Senate race here in South Carolina. I got a young lady here on the Democratic side. She is running. We know in next month of June, her name will be on the ballot box to vote for the Democratic primary side. She's the one and only Miss Catherine Fleming Bruce. How you doing today, ma'am?
Hey, how's everybody doing? Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, ma'am. I'm in my graduation attire today, so definitely excited of seeing some high schoolers moving on. But we got to talk about what's more important is our future. Ms. Bruce, you are running in a very, very aggressive state where the same is always the same. And I want to hear your take on a couple things. I know that in the state of South Carolina, we're pretty much like say in the mid 40s, almost late 40s come to education.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have on the ballot right now things when it comes to attacks against people of racial disparities. We still have those kind of things where they're not put into the ballot. We still have gun laws that we don't understand, trying to get some clarity on. We're trying to get a balance in education. We're trying to get a balance when it comes to job creation and job sustainability here in South Carolina. And we want to give you the floor. What is it you're going to do maybe different? Because we know currently the incumbent, Mr. Tim Scott, does have a strong following. He's been in the game for quite some time, has a long list, a plethora of experience. So what can you do differently that sort of would knock the person off the top of the mountain?
Well, I will say, and thank you again for the invitation to talk to your folks there. I will say, first of all, that people have, I think, been paying more attention to Tim Scott's votes, to his voting record just in this past year. I'll give you a couple of things that we've been paying attention to. One, the Voting Rights Act. So I've been working with local, state, and national groups for the past year, supporting the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, which was put forward to address the gutting of the Voting Rights Act. And also after the 2020 election and the January 6th insurrection, and these consistent false stories, also known as the big lie, where people are trying to say, oh, the election was stolen and all these cheating things are happening in elections. So we've seen state after state change the election laws, which create more burden for voters, especially for African-American voters. So that's what the John Lewis Voting Rights Act was put forward to address. Tim Scott voted no on that. Not only voted no, but, got into this big debate with Cory Booker and everything. So adamant against supporting our right to vote in a way that only he can as a senator. The money that came through to our state due to the COVID funds and ARPA, the American Rescue Plan votes, voted no on that. So that is relief that was really needed. Also voted no on COVID relief, a second round of COVID relief for restaurants. So we know many of our restaurants are still struggling because of that, the ability to keep their employees and to be able to stay open and build the jobs that you were talking about a few minutes ago. Voted no on that. A lot of people paid attention to the no vote, and he voted no twice on Ketanji Brown Jackson, who is our first Black woman to be nominated to the U.S. Supreme Court. Not only voted no on her, but when she was voted in and everybody was standing to applaud, he turned his back and left the room with the other GOP folks who didn't vote for her. And most recently, this week, the House passed what they call a domestic terrorism act in response to what happened in Texas and what happened in Buffalo. And not only did that have, weapons issues included in that bill, but they also talked about having the FBI and other federal agencies working together to combat things like Nazism, white supremacy, that led to some of these assaults. Voted no on that too.
Absolutely. And
okay, so people are looking at that, and we need to have a senator there who's going to stand up for the kind of things that we believe in as a country, and that's what I intend to do.
Sure, absolutely. You want to make sure that you're putting things for Voting Rights Act. You want to make sure that's in place. We want to stop domestic terrorism that's running rampant in our country. We have gun laws that we're still trying to get those resolved and get done, along with things that we talk about: education, teachers' wages. We talk about, for instance, when it comes to sales tax, things that could sort of, bridge the gap. And we have so many things in place. Now, if you can narrow it down to one or two, because what happens a lot, we hear in society, people are not really doing their homework. People go by the as norm. There was a movie with Eddie Murphy where he talked about the distinguished Jefferson, and he talked about
I remember that movie.
Yes. and how he ran off of somebody's name and name recognition, and how people just got used to that's the same person, and it's not going to change. And we always hear, since he's been in office, there hasn't been a strong component or an adversary to really knock him off. It's really like, because the money is flooding in, over $30+ million, and people like yourself and others are kind of struggling to try to sort of stay on the same page. I know that there, when Lindsey Graham ran, Jamie had ran, and he almost did it, but as you know, that came through. All of it, late votes came in, and next thing you know, got knocked off. Things are changing.
Yes.
Where can you see you making an impact, or in this type of race? Because there's the unknown. You're not given the same playing field as everybody else. So how would you be able to sort of bridge the gap? And what is like one or two things that you would say, if you were elected today or tomorrow, what would you instantly put into place?
Well, definitely we would instantly make sure that the funding that is coming to South Carolina, long overdue funding, to support these kind of infrastructure pieces, that is going to continue for the coming year, because a lot of people are talking about how to make sure that people have that broadband, and that we're able to address these issues, and also that businesses are going to get the support that they need. So that's the number one thing that we would do. We also have to keep an eye on the Russia-Ukraine situation. This is something that's impacting our gas prices, impacting our price at the grocery store because of the commodities that are being tangled up due to what's happening in Ukraine. So we're going to try to de-escalate that and make sure that doesn't spread, and also make sure other countries don't think that they can do the same thing, creating other conflicts that have to be engaged in. So those two things, we definitely have to pass the Voting Rights Act. So that's going to be one of the first things as well. And we're going to codify the Roe v. Wade. That's going to be important so that women will continue to have self-determination, and that we're not ending up criminalized just because of our body functions. So that's going to be important as well. So those are some of the things that are going to be on my main list. But I've had the chance to work with the Municipal Association of South Carolina and the Association of Counties about what the counties and cities need and how they're going to address the inequality in development in their communities. So you have the rural versus urban inequality, and then you have within city inequality, where you have some neighborhoods that have been neglected for decades, where, most of them, the ones that we live in as Black and brown people.
Yes, ma'am.
And other parts of the cities getting developed. So I definitely want to address that with the leadership and make sure more funding is being invested in Black and brown communities around the state.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to definitely, give Miss Catherine Fleming Bruce an opportunity. Definitely reach out to her, go to her website. That information is available for you on the screen. I want you to understand that, do your homework, study, understand that this is the time again. Mrs. Bruce, I can't thank you enough for coming on the Logan Power Show. You could have been anywhere place in the world, but you decided to be with us. We pray heaven's best to you as, next month, the primaries there. We will see how it turns out for you. We're here for you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Anytime if someone needs to, come on, we have a no bias zone here at the Logan Power Show. We believe that everybody here, we invite them all, Republican, Democrat, Independent, you name it. We want them on the show. We want people to understand that we want to give people an opportunity to speak their voice and have the chance to be able to say what they would do differently and how they would do it differently.
Well, thank you. If there's time, I do want to say a few quick things about the voting.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. Because we have had some changes in voting laws.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I want people to know that voting starts Tuesday, May 31st.
Yes, ma'am.
So next week, you'll be able to go to your county election office, and they may have other satellite offices. So, and you ought to be able to find that on your county website or give them a call, find out where you can go, because they're somewhere between 2 and 5 and 7 or maybe more places in your county that you can go and vote. No excuse. Voting is now in effect, and voting will not be on Saturdays. Sometimes we've had a Saturday vote, so that has been eliminated. So your vote will be from May 31st to June 10th at your election office. And then on June 14th, you will go to your precinct to vote. So want you all to be aware of that. If the seniors need to go and do curbside, or anybody who's disabled, that's available for you as well. So please make sure you vote. Know that your vote, you are part of the empire. The Black vote, the brown vote, the ordinary person's vote is a strong piece. And if you vote and you strike back like the empire strikes back, then you will be the one to make the decision. So don't forget that.
Absolutely. And for those that are watching right now, continue to vote and keep putting it forward. And I tell you right now, to God be the glory. Thank you for watching
Amen.
special.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching special part of the Logan Power Show nationwide, worldwide. We appreciate you, and we will see you soon.
Okay. Thank you.
It's the Logan Power Show. Inspirational and motivational. It's the Logan Power Show. Informational to help you grow. Logan Power Show.